Alright, welcome everyone to Nerd Shanty Live, where we get you caught up on everything going on in the nerdosphere. I'm Kenty Kryptonite, and tonight it's looking like we have three main topics that we're going to go over until we go into whatever random stuff we want to talk about that's going on in the chat room. It's looking like first off we have some news of another Disney Channel streaming service show that's going to be coming out. So far we've heard about a Loki show, we've heard about a Scarlet Witch show, we've heard about the new live-action Star Wars show, The Mandalorian. Well, yesterday night it came out that we are going to be getting a Falcon and Winter Soldier show, and that's both of them teamed up in kind of a buddy cop type situation. For one, I think that this is sounding pretty awesome, simply based off the fact that whenever you saw them going back and forth in Infinity War and what was it? What was the other one that those two actually seen each other in? Oh, and Civil War, and yeah, and whenever they met up in Civil War, both of those played off each other pretty well. So the idea of them having a show based off of those two, where they're gonna go and have a little more time to focus on them. You know, they've had some moments and everything. I feel like, of course, Winter Soldier's had a little more light shined on him than Falcon has, of course, but it'll be cool to actually get a little more on them. Now, the thing that you have to realize about this is where they've said that the Loki show is a prequel, but there's no way for this show to be a prequel simply because in the little time that Falcon and Winter Soldier met each other back in Civil War, well, after that, of course, Bucky was frozen up until he was, thawed out, for a lack of better words, during Infinity War. And so there's been no time in between for them to basically make a show that was a prequel to it, similar to the way that they're doing the Loki show. So, I mean, I like the idea of this carrying on afterwards. I don't want too much that's just like, oh, this all happened before them, because then you know that there's no consequence, simply because you know that they're going to be good up until, they get to the Infinity War part. So that aspect of it, I find pretty good. Let's see. Our next part is Andy Muschietti, the director that directed the It movie last year, is taking on the new project of making. Oh, thank you so much for becoming a fan, Christian. So Andy Muschietti, the director for It, is going to be taking on the role of making the new live-action Attack on Titan movie. So, for anyone that doesn't know Attack on Titan, it's an anime about basically a civilization that stays behind these walls so that they don't get attacked by these giant, naked-esque looking people, giants that will basically eat you. So it's an okay series. It's not one of my personal favorite anime, but a lot of other people really like it, so hopefully it's going to be a movie that's going to play off really well. My thing with this movie is it has to be rated R, and it's gonna have a decent budget to it, because what's the point of making an Attack on Titan movie if you're gonna make it where you can't have that amount of violence? Because whereas a lot of movie I can understand dialing back the violence so that you can get that PG-13 rating, Attack on Titan is one of those things you need that level of violence because of the terror aspect that goes along with that series. So hopefully we're gonna go and get us a decent budget. We're gonna get that rated R rating that we need from it, and so that way we can hopefully actually have a movie that's worth something. Because for anyone that's a fan of anime and has seen the live action adaptation of the prior Attack on Titan movie that was made in Japan, it was hot garbage, and part of that was due to the fact that their budget was so bad that you couldn't even take it seriously. So fingers crossed that we get something good out of that. Let's see, our next story up is Naomi Watts is going to be taking on a role in the Game of Thrones prequel series. That's the series that they've been talking about, because Game of Thrones is going to be ending next spring, even when they keep telling us that winter is here in all their promotional material. Thank you so much, Game of Thrones, for trolling us once again with that. But they're saying that this is actually going to be based thousands of years prior to the story that we already have been watching, which is really interesting because a lot of people thought that it was going to be at best about 100 or so years behind, so that we were seeing close relatives to the characters that we already knew, where you were looking at things like the Targaryen line, and things like that. But it's looking like that's not going to be the case. We're going to be going way back into Westeros and seeing a completely different set of characters, where a lot of them you're really going to have to dig deep just to see how they're even related. Now, another bit of story that came out today that came out a little bit after I took down my notes is the fact that they now have some screen footage, mostly just showing off the face and the wig and everything, of Henry Cavill in the role of Geralt from The Witcher. If you guys don't know, The Witcher was originally a book series that was adapted into video games later on, and it now is being adapted into a Netflix original series. Now, for me, I'm personally very excited for this, whereas a lot of people are a little bit skeptical, but you have to realize the amount of money that Netflix has been putting into a lot of their series lately. They're going less for buying out people's old series and putting a lot more money into taking their own series and take them to new heights. So hopefully this will be, in essence, their Game of Thrones like series that they'll be doing. And that is all of the news that we have for right now. And yeah, that was a lot coming out all at once. It was a lot of speech. But hopefully everyone's caught up on everything now. At least that's our news for today at the very least. Ugh. See what Mama is saying. Do you want your little notebook computer, Dan? Oh, cool. I'm going to have another piece of equipment soon. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but, I'll use it for something. Alright, well. It's not looking like I'm getting a whole lot of, Oh, Zenny, welcome to the stream. You just missed my complete spiel about the news. It was a lot of me going quickly and rambling. It was pretty fun, though. I like to come on here, do a quick rundown of all of the nerd news that's been going on, and then after that, it's kind of like, cool. I can just go with whatever people want to talk about on here. I've been trying to come on every night, but it seems like I'm not quite getting the audience I used to. But that's okay. We're not even mad. What the hell's messaging me now? Alright, well, I guess I'm just gonna go off of here and go into board, probably. Alright.